All right.
Hi guys, I am here with my friend JACKINA Stark. And actually I've been friends with JACKINA for a long time. We started off not as friends, but more, she was a professor of mine at the college where I went to school. And also was a family friend of Blake's family. So that was very helpful because when I followed Blake to school in Missouri from California, which is real love, or stupid or something, I don't know. But I followed him across the country and I was friends with a lot of Blake's friends, but I wasn't making a lot of girlfriends. So I think that, I don't know how it happened, but somehow JACKINA took pity on me. And she had a couple daughters that were about my age and she invited them and a couple other people to her house and I got to know them and I'm friends with them to this day. And that really helped me stick around really, because I thought, I don't want to stay here if I only have Blake's friends. It's just not, it's not enough. And she helped me kind of make some girlfriends. And so I always remember that. Do you remember that?
I remember that. Yes, I do.
So yeah, and then you can tell me.
Okay.
Anything that stands out for when you met me.
Well, I would have to call Heather, maybe a good word is vivacious. She was just energetic and fun and yeah, she did follow Blake across the country and I just thought, wow, that girl must be in love, or as she said, maybe just crazy. But anyway, I loved her. And Blake and Heather were also students, but mainly I think it was different simply because I did know Blake's folks. We were very good friends and I've known Blake since he was tiny. And so meeting his girlfriend and feeling like she couldn't possibly know very many people, I was glad to invite her in. And I'm glad I did because she was even in Stacy's wedding. Mm-hmm. And they are still friends to this day. And Leanne too, my younger daughter. But I think they were maybe a year younger than my two girls who were just a year apart. But anyway, it's been a great relationship. And not only are Blake's parents our friends and have been forever, but really Heather's been my friend for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm. You know what, actually, while you're talking, there's a couple other funny things I was thinking about. And so I think about you a lot because JACKINA was my English professor. So I had to she's the first person who's ever written anything I wrote. And actually Blake's mom just gave me an a paper essay that I think I wrote for you. And it was about when Blake's mom passed away, or not Blake's mom, Blake's dad who just passed away. It was out when his mom passed away and me observing how strong he was for his dad so that his dad could grieve the way he needed to grieve. And it wasn't bad, but it definitely, I'd say my writing has changed and improved. You definitely weren't like, oh my gosh, you should totally write 2 books someday. It was like, well, it was, I don't know if there was a grade on it, but it definitely, any writing skills, I always say, come from my trauma and drama that was happening in my life. And God just kind of gave me that gift right when I needed it. And luckily it seems to stick around some. So, and then the other funny thing is that not a lot of people comment on my blog because it's kind of like a daily reading, the way I've set it up. But especially in the beginning, every single time it would say Tony Stark, which is not Iron Man. That would have been pretty exciting, but it is her husband. And I think she was on his device or whatever. So she would always comment every time. And I was thinking, well, that Tony, man, he's so sweet. He's quiet and everything, but man, he just comments every time, bless his heart. And it was JACKINA, so that's still good. But I felt kind of extra special that Tony was every time.
That would have been something, Heather. I don't think Tony reads very many blogs.
I'm not that special yet.
Oh, gosh.
So, well, why don't you tell us about kind of one of your favorite posts or one that's resonated with you, and we'll kind of chat.
Well, from the very beginning, from the first book to the blogs that followed that and became the second book, I've been so impressed with how very real you have been. And that being real is what I guess makes any writer worth reading. But especially the things that you're struggling with in the lives of, well, really, I think a non-Christian or an unbeliever would get a lot out of your blogs. But I think especially for Christians, you deal with what many of us, probably all of us, some of us are more aware than others, with what we deal with. And while you have us look into, you kind of sneak in there, but you have us look into our hearts, and you open up something within us. And sometimes it's a little hard, but always you end up with it being very hopeful and sometimes joyful, depending on what you're writing about. I just appreciate those things so very much. And I don't think I've ever read one that I didn't like and understand, but many of them I saved. I have in my email, I have files I put things in, and one file is inspiration. So along with some other pretty heavy hitters, Heather, many of your blogs are in my inspiration file.
Oh, very good. I'm honored. So you were saying that one of the posts that was kind of a more recent one that you enjoyed was about you are still not it.
Yes. Well, that's the one I looked up because that's one of the ones that really struck me. It's one of the ones I looked up when I knew we were going to talk. But really, it was both of the it blogs. I think the first one was You're Not It. I really like that because I don't know anybody that's in the least bit introspective, who doesn't struggle with something within that they really wish was different. And I imagine, I don't know that I do it to a huge degree, but certainly to some, where there are especially days when you let that define you, that's who you are. And you made it very clear in that first It blog that that's a little part of who you are. And I just thought that was just so healthy. And I didn't go back and reread it, Heather. I'm sure there's much more to say about that, but I did go back, and it is saved though. I did go back and read You're Still Not It. And you took a little different turn with that. And you did something in that I really like. You do it in a lot of your blogs. You made a great analogy. You made a great analogy of, well, first of all, before I get to the analogy, this is why I was such a stunning teacher, just rabbit trails. What was that, Miss Stark? Anyway, it is, with the first one, it was just the different things we struggle with. And this one, it is, you're not it, God is it. And you went into quite a bit of detail, I think, quite a bit with that, and reminding us of the very important fact that of God being it and all that means. But your great analogy was just that I love analogies. I love metaphor, but you kind of outdid yourself, and I made me think I don't know anything about either one of them when you came up with a game of hide and seek, and that the one that's it, there's not any it like God, who, I mean, because some people, when they play hide and seek, aren't as diligent as others. But anyway, it just that God seeks and desires and wants and keeps after us. And, at different times in my life, faith has always been so easy for me. Well, it's been a little harder the last 10 years as I've just struggled with issues and went through a great deal of confusion and wondering. And And yet in all of that, I don't want to cry, but in all of that, I felt as I was seeking God, that he was just as diligently, just as passionately seeking me. And so I don't know. I love that analogy. I loved the whole blog. And you've done that over and over again. And I'm so appreciative. And whenever they come in my inbox, I will always read them.
Well, I appreciate you. And you always give me, at least that's about the main comments I can always, even if it's just like good one. It's usually just really brief, but it lets me know, good, well, at least one person's still reading it. Because when people don't respond,
well, Heather, I don't read a ton of blogs, just a couple as a matter of fact. And it's been my experience that people don't respond all that often.
Yeah.
They really don't. So I'm really glad that, they read them. There's so many things to read in your inbox.
I know.
And in your stack of books, and there's just so much to do. So sometimes people don't, but I'm glad that you put them together into a book where people can put them down on their coffee table and read one and then read another and then read another. And a lot of times by God's grace for your readers, as well as for you and for me, you pick up just the right thing at the right time. So I'm really thankful for your books.
Good. Well, yeah, my dream for people is just to have it just next to their bed or next, like me, I sit at my couch when I read and I have a whole big basket of books next to me, and I grab, Jesus Calling, and then I grab all the little chambers and I read these dated entries, or I read the next one, and it's always exactly what I need to hear that day. And I read myself because, like I said, my stuff leaks out and I have to read it again so I remember what I believe and how to act and how to behave and all that stuff that I know is in there. I just don't always pull it to mind as I should, or forget. So
that's another thing, Heather. When you write, you're always open to what God wants to say to you, I think. And that sounds practically mystic, but it's not. If you invite him in, I think he leads us to things to read. He puts things in our heart to ponder, and you're willing to do that. And then you're willing to go to all the trouble to put that out there for somebody else to ponder with you. And so 1,000 blessings on you, Heather Carter.
Well, thank you so much. What you and I were talking about earlier, just that sometimes we take stands on things, and then things happen in our world, and then all of a sudden we kind of think a little bit differently. And I especially want to remind people of that, because when you read my book, that's what part of why you should read it one blog at a time, because if you just read it straight through, you're going to probably think I'm insane, because what I say at blog 72 is probably not the same solution to that same topic as what blogs 350, because if you're growing and changing and learning, you're going to have maybe some new ideas, and maybe the things you used to feel, there are a lot of things I used to feel very strongly about, and now I just kind of, let God take care of those things and let him tell those to other people, instead of me trying to control what other people think. And so, reading my book all at one time, people might like, she doesn't know what she thinks or what she believes. And, I guess that might be true, but the core things are the same. I love God, I love people, and I want to let him redeem the hard things to help them be good things in people's lives. And that never changes.
Yes. And things are also layered, Heather. There may be something you said that, I don't know, that you say, no, that's not even right. But most of the time, no, there's more to it. Whoops, I just dropped it. Am I there? and so anyway, I think, I don't know, my thinking has changed so much through the years, so much. And I just ask God to lead me from place to place and to just help me. It's one of my favorite prayers. Lord, help me think right. And another one is from Jeremiah, where God says, call on me and I will teach you great and unsearchable things you do not know.
Mhm.
And so I read and explore, and I want to know more. And at the same time, I know more and more there are mysteries. But you just, this is what I was going to say. I used to write a lot. I used to speak a lot. And I've gone back after I've changed so many of my ideas. I've gone back and looked at most of what I've written, or I don't look at it all, but as I think back on it, or if I see something, I've been able to stand by it, because what I spoke about most was Jesus and major themes like love and forgiveness and kindness and compassion.
Mhm.
And so as much as change, those things remain. And those are many of the things that you write about and remind us of and encourage us with very specific details. And so I just think everybody should go out and get that. As for me, I'm going to go the 99-cent route on that day you told us about.
You should.
Although I had your first book thanks to you. So, and a visit you made to my house, and you need to make another one.
Yes, I will definitely be doing that. Well, thank you for, the steep learning curve that had to happen just to get on a Zoom call today. And I appreciate your willingness to do that.
First
You didn't
Zoom
give
call.
up. You did not give up. Yeah. And I've always appreciated what you have written, and I've heard you speak many times, and you've just been an encouragement to our family in a lot of ways. And what was I going to say? Oh, so is it okay if I mention your books on here, or you tell people what they are in case they want to buy them? Can they buy them?
Well, I don't even know that you can get them. It's over 10 years old. They're 2 novels, and they're from Bethany House. You can get them on Kindle, on Amazon. My favorite, well, they're so different. But one is called Tender Grace, and the other one's called Things Worth Remembering. And I got, when they came out, there were a lot of wonderful comments about them, mainly helping them see important things about what it is to love and follow Jesus. So, although they're very much a novel, that's subtly in there, because I hate preaching in a novel. Preach in a sermon, don't preach in a novel. But anyway, and thanks for even mentioning it, but maybe somebody will listen and somebody will want to look into it.
Yep.
I'm going to
probably put
your
links
book,
to them.
Your book is hot off the presses.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully it will continue to stay that way. And, I'm just doing the footwork and letting God take care of the rest.
Yeah, you
and
are.
That's all you can do. So
Heather, when I wrote,
hear it.
When I wrote, that's exactly how I felt. I'll write this, I'll do what I can to get it out there, to see if somebody will publish it. But mainly, if you don't want this, God, I don't want it.
Right.
If you want it, I know that you'll take care of it. I had to do the writing. I think he pretty much will insist on that. But anyway, so
well, you wrote for you, and same thing. First and foremost, I write for me, because it's how I reason things out with God. And when I'm especially stressed, it helps me. I kind of talk through my fingers. So I just sit there.
Yeah, you do.
Get it out there.
And it, it's a lot like a conversation. And that's part of the fun of it. And anyway, you're doing a great job, and I'm so proud of you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for doing this today. And I hope you have a good Saturday, and I'll be in touch.
Okay, honey. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.